Is Thursday, April 18th. And we're coming into the market with a little bit of news this morning, right? We had the unemployment claims and Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. We've got Fed Bowman speaking right now or in about a minute. Um, then he's on again at 9:15, and then Fed Williams 9:15 as well. Then we get existing home sales 10 leading index, and then we get Bostic at 11 in the afternoon. Other than that, that is pretty much all of the news today. So what we'll do here is we'll do what we always do, right? Take a peek at the monthly, and as we can see, the monthly has had a cessation of one time framing. In the gray is the gap from a back adjusted contract, and in the orange is from a non back adjusted contract, right? Because we had that recent back adjust kind of just messed up all the numbers. So monitor whichever gaps that you're looking for. But if you look at the non-back adjust or the back adjusted contract, we filled that gap to the tick yesterday and then caught a little bit of a bounce. You can see we're trading about 50.73. That closed yesterday 50.62 quarter, so a little bit higher than that, about 10 handles off that level. Some key levels that we want to be watching today, right? Last month's range, that last month's low 50.63, basically right where we closed yesterday, was on the previous month's low, so very mechanical close. And then that previous month's open 51.05 still going to be a very key level. If the market is going to catch any bit of a rally, it's going to have to get above that level first. Now switching over to the weekly, you can see the weekly still remains one time framing lower, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row now. Last week's low 51.50, right? Still gonna, that's the only thing. Well, actually would have to get above the close, which is the 51.67 half, in order to not be another negative 4 week. We've got today and tomorrow, right? So we don't want to write anything off. We've been seeing some very large ranges during the cash session and in the overnight session. So definitely don't want to rule anything out, but just be paying attention to those levels should we catch a rally. A lot of levels before that, so but that's just a key level. If we get above there, you probably start to get a lot of short covering. Oh, no worries. Thanks. Good call. My bad. Um, yeah. So on the weekly, right, we're still getting this one time framing down. Yeah, I was showing the DOM. So you get the gray gap, and that's the back adjusted gap. This orange gap is the non back adjusted gap. You can see basically traded right to the tip of that back adjusted gap and kind of bounced. You can see we're trading about 50.75, which is actually a pretty key level for me. I think that momentum traders, if they are going to maintain control, that's kind of the key level they'd like to stay below, or else we go back into more of a balanced push and pull type day, and it kind of takes some pressure off of the buyers. Now, switching over here to the daily, right, you can see we are one time framing lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row now. We're trading, you know, decently off that high, about 5% from the all-time high. Yeah, about 5% from the all-time high. Trading a little bit lower here, so not really anything to get crazy about. I know there's a lot of people that are probably on this, like, starting to turn to the sell side, and that's kind of why I start to think like, okay, well, maybe we will get a bounce from here. But like I said, it's going to be kind of key to pay attention to some of those levels. Now, yesterday was pretty much a reversal day, or like a continuation day. We had the overnight session kind of run up, but basically as soon as the market opened, we got more liquidation, so it trapped some momentum buyers, kind of assuming that we were going to be trading higher because we opened higher, and then the market actually traded lower. Now, if you're in the Discord, I broke down this profile, but we can do it again here really quick. Basically, yesterday's session, for the most part, was very mechanical. Um, And let me see here. So it's a very mechanical profile for the most part yesterday. Put the profile here. Okay, so when we look at the profile, the market opened up yesterday. And let me just go ahead and get rid of some of these. Well, it's not going to erase them actually. So it doesn't matter. Basically, the market opened, right? We opened up at that 17, started to get liquidation. You got some single prints to start the session, letting us know some buyers were stuck off sides. That's those momentum buyers that I was talking about. Because the close from the previous day was lower, we opened higher. Momentum buyers tried to pile in, trying to catch this level. We were kind of cautious of, it was actually the 23, but I put it down now that the 23 is that T1 high, but we're looking above that 23 in order to get long, never got there. Market rolled back and then just went into an imbalance, right? Traded down, and then you can see kind of formed this B shape. Now, you get this B shape, that's an indication of liquidation. Well, with inside of that, we had multiple sets of single prints here and single prints here, letting us know that there are some short-term inventory still stuck off sides. We see big volume come down, the point of control kind of move down. And then we get this little short covering, and then that turns into actually a short covering rally, which is what this big wick was. Basically, a lot of short time frame momentum short traders kind of panicked because they thought the market was going to go up and they kind of raced for the door. Well, no actual buying showed up. We never got above these single prints, and then the market liquidated again, finishing in a B shape, right? So you get liquidation that started up here and really started from the bottom of these single prints. So around that COT VPOC, which is around 5,100, market tried to trade back up there. No buyers showed up once again, and we liquidated again. Now, this is kind of a key thing. We keep seeing this or a theme developing, right? Because we have this really big down day, even the day before it, honestly, too. This really big down day, which was very mechanical on the way down. And then we have another day here, kind of a balanced at the low, looking for acceptance at the low. Another very mechanical day where it looked like short sellers were moving lower. And then they were able to move the market a little bit lower and kind of finish it on the downside. Now, today we've got overnight inventory pretty much net long, right? With the close being that 60.50. Actually, this was 60 quarter, but actually the close was 62 quarter, but pretty close. I mean, 2 points is not going to make or break you. But we're going to be opening up inside the previous day's value. And you can see for the most part, just kind of this one distribution down here at the low. You've got a couple distributions where we had trapped inventory. So not paying too much attention to them. The real key here, I think, is you want to smash these profiles together and pay attention to these two distributions. So you have this larger distribution from the combined profile and this kind of lower distribution with that weak spot being the prior COT low 78. So what we're kind of looking at is this just a liquidation? Did they liquidate? They ended up closing that gap and got all those shorts out. And are they going to be able to continue selling lower, or was that it? And then are the odds going to increase from this 5,100 or rotation back to that 5,100? So what we'd like to see today and what we've got to be cautious for today is, I think, and if we look at the overnight profile just by how it's forming, you're kind of getting this 45-degree angle on this low, right? If it keeps maintaining that and you get a flush off of the open that doesn't hold that, then I would expect us to test back up to this 86-ish level, and that would kind of put us back in more of a neutral state. Above that 86, I think there's definitely some opportunity to trade up to that 94 to the 5100 that caught VPOX right there. Have to be cautious. Below that, I think below this level it starts to get a little bit choppy, but below that settle. And then if there is going to be a break, that's probably where it will come from. It'll probably come from below this previous low, because that would put us back into that gap. Now that kind of gets ruined because I have to move this up, but and then the level down really is like 5003. So the real level on the downside is that 5003 level, for a real continuation. Other than that, you really just want to look for the break and hold of the previous low in order to get that confirmation. So we'll look to break this Globex low, back test and hold, and then you want to kind of apply the same strategy to hold this low to trade down towards that 5003. And then, like I said, if they can't break this 45-degree angle, that's where we look for that long. Takes us into those 80s, and then you've got that nice ledge kind of sitting at 95, 96, and then up there from the COT VPOC, you're really just going to have to kind of wait and adjust because you have so much volume up here. There's going to be, it'll probably turn into chop market, tends to slow down when it's at an area that it's had previous acceptance, and be more of a readjustment period. Below, the reason I'm thinking that we do slip, because you've got a lot of people kind of buying the dip. I think a lot of retail traders thinking, okay, well, now we've got enough dip. We did hit the 50 moving average, I think. Um, so a lot of people are pretty much just, they're all in on these moving averages. So they're going to be looking to buy that, um, which not always a bad idea when the market's in trend, but the market's kind of not in trend. If anything, it's in a downtrend for the most part, like we saw on the daily. So maybe not the best idea to be playing those. Like I said, we don't really have much news today. Not any more news, at least. A couple of Feds talk, and that really will be the kind of focus today. Is listen to what they say and how they say it. The market is really kind of hanging on to this thread of interest rate cuts, and we had initially priced in 6 at one point. Now we're down to 3, and it seems like those odds are dwindling more and more every day, and it seems like people are pricing in 3, and the Fed is kind of only committing to 1, if any. Uh, we did we did see Powell on Tuesday. Really didn't say much, but the market definitely did go down. So whatever he did say, maybe that's the reason. We do have some geopolitical news, right, with the war in Ukraine and the possibility of escalation in Iran and Israel. So that's going to be something you definitely want to be paying attention to, right? Have a little news ticker up, or something like that. If you need someone to follow on Twitter, there's a page I follow on Twitter called Stock Market News. It pretty much posts everything that you need for the news that's going to affect the market, right? There's a lot of it, right? And it's not always going to affect your trading, especially if you're just trading the ES, but there's a lot of news on there. And then one last thing, today we do have some earnings, right? Today's earnings, the big ones being Netflix and TSM, right? We know some chip makers have been pretty volatile lately, NVIDIA, AMD. Well, TSM's kind of right in there. So if they get good earnings, could get a little bit of a pop. We'll see what Netflix does. Netflix normally does absolute shit on earnings, so we'll just kind of pay attention to that and see if they bite the bullet and head lower. Heading into next week, we've got Tesla earnings on Tuesday. Some value stocks also on Tuesday. We've got Meta on Wednesday next week. Then we get Google on Thursday, and then we don't get. Where's Apple? I don't even see Apple. Microsoft is on Thursday as well. Yeah, maybe Apple's not till next month. We get Amazon, AMD, and that's 2 weeks. That's on the 30th. Yeah, maybe I'm just missing it. Does anyone know when Apple earnings are at? Let's just look at the chart. May 2nd. Oh, okay. Yeah, for some reason it's not showing up on my market watch. Yeah, all right. But yeah, so not for a little while. So you get these kind of spread out, and this kind of leads to that theory that I was talking about, that the market's doing a little bit of readjusting or rebalancing, as I like to call it. And we could, if we take a peek here, so you've got Apple, right? And this is Apple. Uh, here's the all-time high. We're down quite a bit, right? Pretty much giving up this entire move here, right? Almost down to a full 100% retracement from that low back in October. So not really the greatest look for Apple. And so maybe some buying starts coming into Apple, and we get some selling coming into some of these other stocks that are already kind of AMD is taking a bath, thank God. You guys know I was short in AMD. But Amazon is not really down that much, right? Here's the October low, still up a pretty good distance. So, maybe they start selling some Amazon, buying some Apple, also a couple of other, right? As you can see, Google's still up on the high, Meta still up on the high, big gap below. Netflix, right, coming into earnings, still up on the high. Microsoft still up on the high. Nvidia still up on the high, but coming into our zone here, where I think we got some opportunity. And then Tesla, the other redheaded stepchild, also beat down. Here's the October low wasn't really a thing for Tesla. You got the small bounce in Tesla, but since trading lower, so maybe they start to buy some Tesla, buy some Apple, and sell some of these other big ones. That brings the market down in a functional matter, right? And that's basically saying, right, instead of just getting this free fall, sell everything and the market drops. Well, we've got to be cautious of this thing turning into more balance, right? Kind of getting into this zone and starting to balance a little bit. Possible pullback 48.90, I think. Even 48.08, right? That previous all time high. And there's a gap all the way down here, but it would make sense. The market starts to balance a little bit of two-way trading action. And even on this way down, you've seen the two-way trading action. It's been a push pull, and that's a big key that I think is because they're looking to kind of rebalance the market instead of just Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia basically dominating the entire market every day, all day. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure that you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I will see you guys tomorrow.